Call the meeting to order. Thank you folks for being here tonight. We have the fire in the courthouse. We'll do the If you would, please bow your heads for Commissioner's invocation. Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you once again to conduct the business of this county. We thank you, O Lord, for the day that we have had, for your cleansing rain. We ask that you keep those things coming for us, but in moderation. O Lord, we appreciate all the blessings that you have bestowed on us, and we ask that you be with and bless the citizens of this county, our servicemen and women, both here and abroad, and all of our safety personnel who keep us out of harm's way. We ask, O Lord, that you be with us as we deliberate the business of this county. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen. And now I call on our Director of EMA 911, Monty Davis, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the March 21st session. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion that they be approved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Any citizens?
No, sir.
First item of old business, we tabled last time, was the application of Mr. and Mrs. Creech to be refunded in the amount of $221.44. Was the questions were asked regarding where the bill was sent. You have that motion in front of you, and I would therefore entertain a motion on this.
I will make the recommendation that they be given a refund on the service charges.
I've got a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion?
And this is for penalties, fine, and interest?
Topic for discussion so people understand is the bill was sent accidentally or never transferred to their address, so that consequently they did not get a bill. And I believe the county believes a portion of the blame for it. People know they have a bill, but they conveniently forget it.
And they did verify also that the request had been made repeatedly to change to the current, to the new address. The other side of the information.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion to refund, please signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, this is an annual request for proclamation to proclaim April as Organ Donor Month in Harris County. I'll read the proclamation. Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts that a human being can bestow upon another is the gift of life, and whereas more than 121,000 men, women, children await life-saving and life-enhancing organ transplants, of which over 5,590 reside in Georgia, and whereas the need for organ, eye, and tissue donation grows daily as a new patient is added to the national waiting list for an organ transplant every 10 minutes, and whereas the critical donor shortage remains a public health crisis as an average of 22 people die daily due to the lack of available organs, and whereas organ, eye, and tissue donation can provide families the comfort of knowing the gift of donated organs and tissues endows another person with renewed hope for a healthy life, And whereas donating life through organ, eye, and tissue donation is the ultimate act of generosity and kindness we Harris County citizens can perform. And whereas more than 4.7 million Georgians have already registered their decision to give the gift of life at www.donatelifegeorgia.org, or when getting or renewing their driver's licenses or state identification card at a driver's license office. And whereas LifeLink of Georgia is the nonprofit community service organization dedicated to the recovery of high-quality organs and tissues for transplantation therapy. And whereas Harris County supports the life-saving mission of LifeLink of Georgia, now therefore the Board of Commissioners of Harris County, Georgia does hereby proclaim April 2017 as Donate Life Month in Harris County to honor all those who made the decision to give the gift of life, to focus attention on the extreme need for organ, eye, and tissue donation, to encourage all residents to take action and sign up on Georgia's donor registry at www.donatelifegeorgia.org, to discuss the miracle of transplantation as a family, and to make a family commitment to organ, eye, and tissue donation. So proclaim this 4th day of April 2017. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second discussion.
I think it's outstanding and it would encourage everyone, which looking at this group, are probably all organ donors, but to encourage everyone to do it. Please.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other comments? All in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, Association of County Commissioners of Georgia, better known as ACCG, requires counties to have a legislative coordinator. Our former county manager was doing that, and our county clerk, assistant county manager, Ms. McMichael, took that over after he left. But this is a motion to appoint Randy Dowling, the new county manager, as that coordinator. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to name Randy as the legislative liaison.
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Discussion. All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda, we received a request from the Recreation Board for the county to have a study performed on the rec department facilities and whether they meet the growth of the county and the amount of youth sports programs that fall under the Recreation Department. It was voted on by the Rec Board and passed 4-3 on February 22nd. John Magazoo, who's our Recreation Director, has provided participation numbers from 2011 to the present, broken down by sport. Mr. Magazoo will respond to any comments or questions that we might have.
I have some questions.
All right.
Ms. Magazine, come up here close by. Thank you.
Good evening.
As the recreation director and as our expert on recreation, do you believe that this study needs to be done?
No, ma'am.
And can you give us some background as to the discussion that led up to this motion and this vote?
It's a shot at the commissioners as far as I'm concerned, over the 315 property. That's all it's about.
Do you believe that we need additional recreation facilities?
No, ma'am. Our numbers are showing we're starting to decrease. Perfect example, baseball 2 years ago had 8 major teams, 7 last year, down to 6 this year. Probably should have went to 5. All the sports are maintaining, and looking at the school numbers, they're also decreasing. So I think we have plenty of facilities. It's just now, like I said earlier, but a lot of our representatives feel they should have an entire ball field for themselves to practice, like football, each wants their own field rather than 2 or 3 teams on a football field or in an outfield to practice. But it's just, as I said earlier,
I have one more question. Do you know of a consulting firm who does
No, ma'am.
this?
I could find out through Georgia Parks and Recreation very easily, but I've never given it a thought. We monitor our numbers very closely. Like I said, you see a lot of things growing since earlier this year.
I said that was my last question I had.
That's all right.
If you thought that we needed more,
I would
wouldn't you
definitely.
come during the budget process and request that?
Yes, ma'am. Anything I think we need in the budgets, or for the future, I put in the budgets like lights for, I've already sent a letter in for, I think, $250,000 for lights for soccer. So, it is growing a little bit, but not much. They'll tell you they have a lot of teams, but when we first started here, we used to play 11-on-11 soccer. Now we're going to play micro soccer, which is, we might have more teams, but there's only 4 or 5 kids, 4 or 5 on the field at a time, and maybe only 8 on the team rather than 15 on the team. So, but you'll see the numbers haven't changed a whole lot. And everybody wants to practice on the night they want to practice, not on the night of field availability. So that's what a lot of it is. Like soccer, nobody wants to practice on Mondays or Friday nights in soccer. They all want to be there Tuesday night. They say they want to practice fields and stuff, but nobody's there Monday and Friday for it. Baseball does practices. Anytime we have a field open there, we have Mondays or Fridays. Matter of fact, many of them do Wednesday nights now and also Sundays.
As the representative to the Rec Board, the Board of Commissioners, just as the liaison, it came to light at our meeting last week that we have one community that, I think I sent you all an email on this, that has offered up 2 fields for practice, and no one has taken them up on that. So there are 2 fields that are sitting empty at one of our communities every week. The other thing is that I personally went out to Pate Park for 2 weeks in a row on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. There was plenty of practice fields available for those who wanted to practice. So, and with John's figures and with the decreasing numbers, I cannot support that we go out with a third-party study to see if we have enough recreational fields.
Most of them just like to wait and go out to the field, see if they can find a field. Tuesday's our day for calling for baseball, softball teams. And then, a few years back, what really started some of it was someone made the decision to go countywide baseball for major division only. So that means now, as far as I'm concerned, if we've got kids on county or just kind of congregating together, they practice at Moultrie one time, Pate another time. Where before it was set up like Mountain Hill, Catawba, keep it paid as much as possible. Waverly also pretty much own complex, they very seldom use Pate from Moultrie Park. Hamilton and Pine Mountain doesn't use, they use their own complex up there also. So basically only Hamilton uses the Moultrie Park area. And the Pine Mountain Valley, we just have been scheduling teams in there. We just redid it, the infield this past week while kids were on spring break. And softball is now utilizing it, so we're giving them the opportunities. But and the softball is the one that's taking advantage of most of it. They're taking just about everything they can get for practice, but we still have that faction one and everything in the home backyard.
Would you say that on the average day there are several empty available fields?
Not complete fields, like Pate Park, we have 3 fields at Pate Park that are 320-foot diameters. Well, the ball fields are only, for the smaller teams, 165-foot outfield fence. So we, on one of those fields, we have home plate, left field, and right field. And that's where we put teams in practice, in the left field, right field, of all 3 of those large fields. So we have the availability on some. We've opened up the football field in the back for, we put 2 baseball teams back there on, for baseball. Soccer, without, before the season, we offer Moultrie Park for them with lights before the time changes. I think we do all we can with what we got. But to go, just go out and spend money, you know, for more fields and stuff, just because people want, like I said, the football teams want their own individual field lines and stuff. And, you know, our guidelines that I have when I got the job 19 years ago, county's responsibility to provide playing fields, and that, to me, that doesn't, because it went into description of lining the fields and dressing the fields and stuff like that. It didn't say anything about practice fields. At one time, every community we got 5 now. We had End Valley, Pine Mountain Valley, and we had Shiloh when I came here. So they all had their own practice facilities and practice there. Mulberry Creek, Mountain Hill School has not been used. It's probably you were superintendent as far as for baseball practice, for football practice. They just want to utilize Page Park rather than go to, they say it's going out of their way now to go to Mountain Hill School. I don't see how. There's not a lot of parking at Mountain Hill School. There are a lot of fields behind the school.
Any other questions, Mr. Magazine? Counselor, since this was a voted request from the Recreation Department, we need to take action on this?
I think you do.
All right. Do I have a motion regarding this request?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion, and my motion is not to approve the request of third-party study on the recreation.
All right, motion to deny by Ms. Langston. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do I have a second? Any other discussion?
Yes, I'd like to table this and have an accurate count of how many fields or partially filled fields are available over the next couple of weeks. That way, we're not saying, we know exactly what we're dealing with.
Okay. I think Mr. Nancy sent out a thing today to explain all of them, so yeah, that's fine.
All right. So the motion is tabled until our next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Magazine. Next is the LMIG Off-System Safety Program. GDOT, Georgia Department of Transportation, is accepting applications until April the 28th. And this is for guardrails, striping, etc. Mr. Brown, our Public Works Director, has come up with a list of things that he has noticed while he is out there riding the roads, either for guardrails and or striping, with an estimated, total estimated cost of $153,691. There's a 10% match, which would come from our 2009 SPLOST. I would need a motion regarding the application and propose this for GDOT's consideration.
I'll make the motion that we accept the list.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, then please signify by raising your hands. Motion carries. Okay, the next item, during our March 7th meeting, action was taken to approve a resolution of intent to abandon a portion of 8th Street, which is also known as Dunn Road. It required that adjacent property owners be notified and that the public hearing be advertised for 2 weeks. That advertisement ran on March 23rd and March 30th. We now have before us the resolution to abandon 8th Street, also known as Dunn Road. Do I have a motion regarding this?
Probably need to call for a public hearing, see if there's any.
All right, thank you, sir. And I will open the public hearing. Are there any citizens that wish to make any comments about this? Any citizens who wish to speak? All right, there being none, and I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make this motion, please. The property is in District 1. I move that the abandoned portion of the old H Street, also known as Stone Road, which lies west of the current road right-of-way, be abandoned and conveyed to the adjoining property owners as provided by law.
Thank you, Commissioner Cheney. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, yes, sir, this complies with your procedure that, and Georgia law regarding the abandonment of unused right-of-way. Originally there was a 50-foot right-of-way, and it was changed up over the years, and you now have an 80-foot right-of-way out there. And then the yellow strip that you see on is that which will be abandoned to the adjoining property owner. And in this situation, there are only two. And on the upper half, the north half, it will go to the adjoining property owner that owns 2.6 acres, and that little small triangle also then will go to another property owner later. They're in the, I would recommend, and I think it's in the resolution, and I put it in the deed that you reserve an easement for utility purposes in the event that you have to come back in some later time and put a water line in or anything else. No sense in shooting your fat twice. So you could claim it with and reserve that utility easement.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Any other new business to come before this commission? Move into the county manager's portion. Mr. Dowling, your updates, projects.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, a lot of things are going on in Harris County. Number 5, to hit the highlights, the library construction is going on. 2 weeks ago, we had a great groundbreaking ceremony, a lot of attendance there, a lot of excitement for the new library construction. Again, it is always on time and under budget, and it will be completed in early 2018. Number 6, update the county's website. Final stylistic touches are being done on that, and that should be up and running very soon. Number 14, the 2014 SPLOST distribution with all the cities. That has been concluded. All the cities have been paid their previous amounts collected, and now the county and all 5 cities are on a monthly program. So when the SPLOST 2014 funds come in every month, they are distributed to the cities for the correct program share. So that is on a monthly routine basis now. Good reception from the cities. Number 17, Hardage Road, that is on track, and it should be finished very, very soon. And we'll be bidding that out in the month of April and May. Again, that project of Hardage Road paving should be finished by the end of the year. Number 19, the feasibility of connecting to high-speed internet. The county attorney and I are working on 4 different documents, and we should hope to bring those 4 documents back to the board at the next meeting. Number 26, 911 radio system improvements. Again, the board hired TUSA Consulting in January to do 2 parts of a program. One part is to evaluate the current CAD system and 911 systems, which is in essence the CAD system, the GIS mapping system, and the telephone system. Ms. Bradford from TUSA is here tonight to give you the assessment report for the CAD and telephone systems at 911. And the other project component is the radio systems that's still being worked on. Tonight is only the evaluation assessment report for the 911 system, meaning the equipment in the 911 center. So that project is going on schedule. That is about it. Also, we did get our SPLOST and loss checks in this month from the state. You can see in your agenda package, the SPLOST check this month was $172,272. It's lower than last month, but more than this time last year, but lower than this time 2 years ago. and the loss follows the same pattern. And that's about the highlights of the report. I'll answer any questions the board may have.
Did you get the bids for the Ellerslie Park roads sent out?
No, not yet.
You're still waiting on the engineer?
Part of that, yes, ma'am.
And we're gonna bring in some reinforcements.
All right, any other questions, Mr. Dowling? All right, and the next is the TUSA report update. Mr. Dowling?
Mr. Chairman, Board of Commissioners, Ms. Wendy Bradford with TUSA is here to give a report on her findings of the 911 equipment. Ms. Bradford is here during February of this year to visit the 911 center and Bonnie's operation. She is here to give you her findings of that report, and hopefully the board will authorize her to continue with the RFP process and acquisition and procurement of a 911 system. So Ms. Bradford will give you her findings.
Ms. Bradford, I'm probably going to have to stop you in just a few minutes. We have a 7:30 public hearing, but they've requested withdrawal, so just keep your seat. Thank you, ma'am.
Before we begin, I'd like to cover definitions. What exactly is the next time 911 telephone?
Next generation, next gen 911 telephony,
Yeah.
that is the actual telephone system for the 911 center that the calls come in on.
The 911 network systems,
That is the actual whole system put together. It's a standalone network.
the PSAP,
TSAP is the primary service answering point, which is the 911 center.
that's just a 911
That is
system.
correct.
You could never find definitions of those.
So,
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Again, my name is Wendy Bradford. I'm with TUSA Consulting Services. First, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to work on this project with Harris County. Monty and his staff are very dedicated to public safety, and they've been great to work with. So again, thank you for that. We're going to get started. As Randy said, in February, I came out and performed a needs assessment and evaluation on the current E911 and CAD systems. The E911 system you have now, the telephony, is called Vesta Palace, and after September of this year, it will no longer be supported. The CAD system, Orion Aries, is no longer supported after December 31st, and there's no upgrade path for it. There is actually an upgrade path for the telephony system, but since we're looking, we might as well look at everything that's out there and just see if there's maybe something better. We found that the systems are at end of life, meaning after there'll be no future support if they break after September or December. The current GIS data is inaccurate and incorrect. Dispatchers are unable to change or update that data, so it's becoming a problem. There actually have been situations where they've dispatched resources to the wrong end of the county. And when you're talking about 911 seconds count, and lives matter, so we want to make sure that going forward we can correct that. There were also discrepancies in the ESN and MSAG data. That is actually the ESN emergency service number is dedicated to the cell towers, and that comes into routing the cell calls. And then the MSAG is actually all the addresses in the county, whether it be commercial or residences. And if that data is wrong, there's also going to be some issues with dispatching resources. There's not enough console positions in there to support the 4 dispatchers that are on staff at every day. So we need another position so that everybody can have be dispatching at the same time. There are time sync issues between the systems. The recording system has a certain timestamp, and then the radio has a timestamp. The 911 system has a timestamp, and the CAD has a stamp. So if they're all different and they're not time synced together, they drift. So if you're trying to recreate a sequence of events in a courtroom, those times are going to be different, and a lawyer can poke holes in that really easily. So that's an issue. The actual radio is set to the atomic clock, so it stays correct, but everything else is drifting. The county cannot receive data from advanced collision notification systems like OnStar or medical alert systems. And they cannot provide 911 services at accepted industry standards. I'll give you an example. There's 3 positions in the 911 center. I'll have some pictures to show you later in this presentation. But of those 3 positions, one position is a call taker. So the call comes in, that position can only take the call, and it can actually dispatch, but it only takes the call and it sends it to the next position to dispatch. Sometimes those dispatchers have to get up from their desk, walk over to a paper map, look up the address, and then come back and dispatch the call. So that's what I mean by not industry standards. Plus, each position should be able to call take and dispatch at the same time without having to transfer into another position.
I think I'll stop you here since you're at the end of one point.
Okay.
We do, Commissioner, if you would fill out your conflict of interest forms. We do have scheduled an application, 2 applications from Edgar Houston Builder to rezone 2 parcels of land, 155.88 acres and 19.18 acres. Before, when this appeared last before the Planning Commission, they voted favorably to allow him to withdraw his application. So there's no need for us to have a public hearing tonight. We do need to vote on whether or not we will allow the withdrawal of those 2 motions. And I would entertain that motion right now, both of the 2.
I make a motion that we allow withdrawal of applications. So that.
We got a motion, a second. All in favor, discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hands. Okay. All right, so then we will go back to Whitney, and you may go ahead and continue, please.
Okay. We also found that we need a better backup alternative routing plan for the county. The current backup is to Columbus, Georgia, PSAP. And at the time when it was set that way, they had the same radio system as you all do. But now it's different, so we might want to set that to a different county. That's something that Molly and I can discuss and put that in plan going forward. The county generator is approaching end of life. It's, I think it was 1998 is when it was purchased, so it's really getting old. I wanted to put the diagram up to just show you a visual of how all this works together. If you look to the left, you see the public access IP, which is basically the cell towers and all the devices that come in from there. On the right-hand side, you see the radio tower and the public safety radio networks, and then in the middle is the phone company, the central office where the phone lines come in, and they all converge down to the core services cloud, which is your EZNet, which is the actual 911 system. The NG 911 system is called EZNet, the standalone network I was talking about. So I just want to give you an idea of how this works together. This is a dispatch position in the PSAP. There are only 3 of these, and we really desperately need 4 in order to serve the community. This is the generator that was purchased in 1998. We need a plan for replacing it. We definitely want to replace it before it goes down, because they never go down opportune times. It's always in the middle of a storm or some busy
Do
time.
we have any problems with that?
It's being serviced. It does it's automatically doing every 2 weeks. It does an automatic check. Jamie, with facility maintenance, I always come around at least once, twice a month to check it. We're not having any issues. It's 20 years old.
One other thing, the dispatch position, I know, do you have room to put that position in?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a desk and a chair already there, and just need the equipment to go there. Our recommendations are that you procure a new telephony NG911 and CAD GIS mapping system. Also recommend that the county either hire a person to outsource the GIS to clean up the data and maintain it going forward. The 4th dispatch position, obviously, and then we recommend you to start looking at plans to replace that generator soon. But everybody's looking.
I have a question. I thought we had added a 4th dispatch position.
We added the personnel, but then Motorola came back and said, we can't move that equipment to that 4th position.
So when you reference position, you mean the actual.
No, equipment.
Physical.
Physical,
Yes,
physical
Position
location.
control is the way, this is the terminology. So this is what everybody wants to know is how much is it gonna cost, right? I surveyed companies and vendors that had just the 911 telephony system and then just the CAD and map system, and then people that could do both. So this is the 911 telephony on separate, 127,000 to 217,000 was the range depending on the vendor. That was the low end to the high end. The maintenance cost yearly, you have to budget anywhere from 12 to 20,000. Again, 12 on the low end, 20 on the high end, depending on the vendor. The CAD and mapping system, 80,000 to 200,000. The reason for the big gap in price there is because some vendors only sell the software and they will give you the specifications for the hardware for you to procure yourself. And then some actually sell both hardware and software. Maintenance costs for year 2, because in these systems, the warranty and the first year maintenance is already included. So you just have to budget for year 2, 3, 4, and so on maintenance. That maintenance costs 15 to 18,000.
I have a question, Monty, what is our current maintenance cost
It's right at $40,000
for both?
for both. 39 and some change.
And then again, some vendors can provide both systems, and this is the turnkey systems that they provided pricing for, which was on the low end $260,000 and on the high end $297,000. And that's for both 911 and CAD mapping. The maintenance cost is somewhere between 25 and 35 per year on year 2. So you can see there are some savings in maintenance there already.
You probably said this, I just want to be sure that with the maintenance, does that include keeping the CAD system updated?
Yes, ma'am.
Also, okay.
Going for every software upgrade that comes out, they give you the option. If it's cosmetic and you don't want it, you don't have to take it, but most of them will give you the option or just put it in for you automatically.
And I was thinking about, I guess also the GIS system, new addresses.
That is
No,
not included.
No, that's something that the county has to maintain and.
That's the additional person.
Correct.
that you're talking about.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right now, we use River Valley Regional Commission to do our GIS, since we don't have someone on staff.
And is that why we can't update it?
You see, they don't update our system.
They don't, I mean, is that why we can't
See, our
collect?
maps are from 2007. So all the new roads, all the new subdivisions cannot be put into our system because it's
Because
the way
the
it's.
maps are not correct.
And I even asked the vendor, because I know Monty tried a lot to get that taken care of, but just on updates of the system itself, the vendor said that there was no way to change it, no way to, so.
Because it is an older system. Here, your technology changes so quickly. And so this is a 2007 system.
And the life cycle of 911 CAD equipment is usually 7 to 10 years, and this has been in for 10 years, so it's definitely on the back end of the life cycle. So our next steps would be for you all to authorize us to move forward with the RFP procurement process, and if we do that, we anticipate an RFP to be released in mid-May with acceptance around December.
And I asked a question earlier today, in our agreement with TUSA that we're currently operating under does include this.
Yes, it does.
It's just coming to us to authorize us taking that next step. It does not authorize the expenditure of any more dollars or the expenditure of any of what they're putting up to try to come before us later.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The TUSA will prepare an RFP. That's extremely complicated. Send it out to all the vendors, and the vendors will submit competitive quotes, competing against each other, and then TUSA will evaluate all those quotes, and then bring us a recommendation. And the board can either approve or disapprove their recommendation. The quotes might be better than the numbers seem tonight.
Yeah, these are budgetary, so when they throw out budgetary, they, try to cover everything.
And plus, TUSA will be working on the county's behalf, negotiating the best deal they can. TUSA sells no products or services. They have no vested interest in any product or service, so they remain very impartial. And they do whatever is in the best interest of the county and what best equipment fits the needs of Harris County. And again, that RFP could be prepared, sent out, responses, received, evaluated, and maybe be brought back to the board in maybe June, July, and then the board can then make further decisions at that point.
So as you're developing the budget, you're using these top numbers here, the highest number?
Yes, I'm using worst case scenario. So,
Right.
yes, so basically, we won't know the true numbers until after the budget's been adopted. The budget's being created with worst case scenario.
All right. Now, I think, even though it's covered, they're just asking permission to move ahead. I think we do that by consensus as opposed to vote.
I'd do it by motion, that way you got it.
You do it that way anyway, okay? All right, then I'll entertain a motion.
I move that TISA be authorized to proceed according to the terms of our contract.
All right, you have a second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion to then proceed with their contract, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Dowling?
That is it.
All right, and we now move into county attorney's position, part of the program. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you for what you're doing for us.
Yeah.
We need to identify, we know we had problems, we need to identify them before we move forward.
Thank you for making it so understandable.
Call on Mr. Taylor. I think the first thing there was the agreement with GDOT.
Yes, sir. This GDOT agreement is an annual agreement that you enter into with GDOT. And they, under this agreement, GDOT, or you provide up to 10 inmates from the Harris County Prison and to do work for GDOT here, there, and yonder, whatever they require. And GDOT pays, agrees to pay the sum of $39,500 to you annually. And what that $39,500 is the basic cost for a correctional officer to supervise the inmates. And this agreement has been ongoing for without changing anything except the dates for a number of years. And so they use the inmate labor, and they provide you to pay you to have somebody to supervise. I recommend it to you.
Question, if I may, it just concerns me that it's saying that we're entering into the agreement the 1st of July, whereas we're executing it in advance. Can we state that it is?
Yeah, I mean, it can, yes.
Yeah,
I
I'd
think
like for it to
it
be accurate.
won't be, certainly won't be effective.
It just says the effective date is the date hereof.
Yeah.
So we know it's not until July 1, so
Well, it says July 1. I think you're approving this contract, to begin on July 1.
right, but if that could be clarified, please.
All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion and be accepted.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. All right, easement, maintenance easement.
Yes, sir. Georgia Department of Transportation is putting in a passing lane on Highway 103 over in front of your Northwest Harris Business Park. And it kind of starts about where JCI is and then moves on up the road. And I think there's some 29 or 30 parcels that they'll be either requiring easements from or fee simple transfers. A number of them have already been closed. There are a couple of them I think that Department of Transportation will probably have to file some condemnation cases on them. But what they're asking you to do is to donate to them a maintenance easement, construction and maintenance easement, which is shown on in the agreement that is attached. One is shown as purple and one is shown as kind of an orangey red. Those two come out of two different parcels. The one parcel is that little triangle which I included the tax map on so you know where it's coming from. is coming out of that parcel which you acquired, all of that big triangle a number of years ago. And then behind it is where the balance of it is coming from. And you had acquired that also. So these two parcels are, you'll still own them, but they'll be subject to their permanent maintenance and construction of the easement. And I would recommend it to you.
All right, thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your hand. Motion carries. Anything else, Mr. Taylor?
No, sir, I have nothing else.
All right, that completes everything. Do we have any need for executive session tonight?
No.
I do have something I need to run by y'all. With the radar list, Commissioner Tuning had asked that there be some kind of designation about the Callaway Gardens. And they took that off the list, but they offered us one of those flashing beacons that's run by solar battery. Won't cost us anything monthly, but we have to sign a document saying, do it. We have to make application for them to put it in. They're not going to put it on their own. They'll put it in. And we pay for anything that's monthly that
This
they're
is where?
at Callaway Gardens.
Country store.
Country store.
At the country store.
I'm sorry.
Crosswalk there.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor, I have a question regarding that. My concern is with enforceability. If the state has not authorized that area to have a reduced speed limit, can that be enforced?
No, I
I
wouldn't
didn't think
think so.
so. I mean, that's what I thought.
If you don't want it, I can.
No, I mean, I want everything we can to keep people safe. That was just my concern, is the enforceability, but anything there is.
So you would basically like the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think that area offers a long distance. Maybe on the radar list.
Well, regardless, if somebody is speeding through there, they cannot.
The only thing is driving too fast for conditions, when you get there and you start seeing that, you're supposed to slow down.
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to do that. Anyway, that was my concern, but I'd be glad to have anything to get people's attention. I think it's needed.
Okay.
Are there any objections then, or?
I don't have, I think everybody's on board with that.
Do you have a problem?
Okay, anything else? All right, now we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion. Second. All in favor? Raise your hand. Okay. Nancy, who do you need to sign?
Most everybody.
Most everybody. Okay.